Hey guys, Idahosa here from mimicmethod.com, where you learn foreign languages by ear the natural way. And today we're going to talk about how to maximize your motivation by pouring as much emotion onto your goals as you possibly can, because your motivations are directly connected to your emotions. If you don't have a strong emotional reason to learn the language, then you have a very low chance that you're going to power through all the hard work and struggle that's necessary to actually succeed. So what I'm going to show you in this video is some scenes from a webinar presentation I did with several prospective students of the Mimic Method, and specifically speaking with one person, and we're going to talk about why she learns Spanish in this case. But while you watch, I want you to think about your specific language goal and why you're doing what you're doing, and kind of follow along with the exercise that I'm guiding her through. So first, I ask her, why are you learning? And you'll see her first response, which is similar to most people's responses, is very abstract and not super personalized. Hers is pretty good, but most people say, oh, I want to learn French because it would be cool to learn French, or I want to learn French because I want to learn Spanish because there's lots of people who speak Spanish in my neighborhood. Better, but very abstract. So let's take a look and watch what she says. What language you're learning and what experience, there's a specific memory or experience you have where you really wish you spoke that language better.
In Reading, Pennsylvania, just so you know. I'm not.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So the reason why I want to learn Spanish is because over, like, I'd say the last 20 years, the city of Reading has become predominantly Spanish. And so it's everywhere. And the high school is 90% Spanish. And that gives you an idea of, so it's everywhere. And I'm a real estate agent. And so it would be so helpful to me, enhance my career, to be able to speak the language. She wants to learn Spanish because it would be useful for her job. And that's a good reason, but it's not a very emotional reason. So how can we pour more emotion on this? So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna walk her through a process, which you can follow by yourself, taking her from the very abstract level and going at least one rung down the ladder of abstraction. So what's a specific type of situation where not knowing Spanish is affecting your job? Let's see what she says. When you see people or you see an opportunity for socialization, but you're unable to take that opportunity, or maybe you tried and you feel left out. What is anything like that come to mind for you? I was in my office and I had the client there and the translator, the person that they had to bring along, that we had to actually find to translate in my office. It was just the action of explaining the process of buying a house, and every step of the way, I would have to speak and then the person would have to translate and, go back and forth. A type of situation, right? Which is she's there working with a client, a Hispanic client, but she needs a translator. And obviously she's not happy about having a translator. Now, if you really want to experience the emotion, this is the process of really pouring it on your goal. You need to bring yourself into that place. So right now we're still at an abstract level of a general category of situation with translation. Now I'm gonna guide her through, I'm gonna ask her, think of a specific time when you're in this situation. Bring it to mind. And for you watching at home, what is your frustration of not knowing the language? What's a specific moment in your memory where you're like, this situation could have gone better had I been better at this language. Let's see what she says. What does that mean to you personally, that it was not you doing it and that there's potentially things being missed? What does that mean? Just the thought of that feels amazing. And oh my God, I feel like there's nothing I can't do. I feel like a superwoman. Okay, great. So you saw, we brought her to that specific moment, specific memory. In that moment, she's in that room, frustrated with that translator, feeling like this person's not being understood and she can't understand. Now you can see complete shift in her emotional state. In the very beginning, it was kind of like, oh, I want to learn Spanish to learn to help with my career. Now we're like,
I'm in this moment. I wish I knew Spanish so I didn't have to deal with this translator and I can understand. So you see, the emotion's been turned up. It's a negative emotion, but that's fine. We're gonna make it positive later. But now she's a bit more motivated. Now the final step here is when you're in that moment, you're reflecting on why does this bother me so much? Why does it bother you so much that you were not able to fluently communicate in that specific situation you have in your mind right now? What does that mean? What does that mean about you? What does that mean about the world? You want to be able to connect this negative experience to some aspect of your core identity, some aspect of your core values. So I'm going to ask her that question and we'll see what she says. And then going back to that kind of core identity, what would it mean to you, or what can you imagine on the face of the client? What would the client say? Think about some of your best in English, some of your most satisfied clients in the past, and then try to transpose that face and that experience on that face. Like what would that look like?
Right. Well, they would feel like I really cared and I took really good care of them, and that I really, that's what I really try to get across to my clients, that I really care and I'm on your side. And I feel like they would feel that way.
Great, now we're at the heart of the matter here, right? We've gotten this down, once again, starting from, I just want to learn Spanish to improve my career, to this not knowing Spanish is stopping me from being the person I want to be. Someone who can take care of people, make them feel like they can trust me, make them feel like they've been taken care of. This is obviously a major part of this person's core identity. So now the task of learning Spanish is critical to being the person who she sees herself to be, being the person who she strives to be in her life. So once you're able to connect your goal to your core identity, to your core values, service, taking care of people, being a good listener, being a citizen of the world, being able to understand and connect, whatever it is for you, figure out what it is at the most fundamental level. And now you have a reason to learn. Now you can't continue in this path you're on not being fluent in this language if it means that you're gonna have to always be not the greatest version of yourself. Now, you might be a little bit emotionally in a bad place right now after going through that whole process if you really took it seriously. We're gonna lift it back up. I don't wanna leave her here in a frustrated state. I wanna bring it back up to like, okay, now, if you did the right steps, if you had a right plan, if you actually achieved this goal and became fluent, how would things look different? Place yourself back in that situation, but now change the scenario. Now you're no longer struggling to understand, you're no longer struggling to express yourself. Now things are flowing. You're able to understand, you're able to express. How is this different? Let's see what our student says. But then in this other scenario, because you're able to converse and flow in Spanish, they're kind of like impressed and like, wow, I feel great. They walk out there with a big smile, beaming, and they're like, I usually don't trust all these other real estate, but I know I can trust Trina.
That's
She's,
right.
she's,
That's
she's
right.
good people, right?
Yes,
And then they
exactly.
go and tell their friends like she'll take good care of you, and like so that's the experience you want to have. And then
Absolutely.
and then why would that, if that took place, why would that be meaningful to you?
Well, it means I'm doing my job. I'm doing a good job. They see I care, and it means something because I got it. I conquered this goal. I achieved
Mm.
this goal. I've always wanted to do it. I was able to do it. It feels so good to not have that barrier, of not understanding.
Cool. So the first thing you might have noticed is that her demeanor completely changed, right? At first, she was in a she started off in a very kind of neutral state, then got to a really kind of frustrated, negative state. And then as soon as she imagined herself being able to fluently communicate and take care of her client and all that kind of good stuff, boom, face lights up. Wow, how amazing would that be, right? Now we have that positive emotion. That's the other half of motivation, the negative and the positive. Now she's there, and we're gonna ask her now, why? Why does this make you smile? Why does this give you such positive energy and motivation? How is this new scenario that you're aiming towards, how does this connect back to that same core identity?
Well, it means I'm doing my job. I'm doing a good job. They see I care, And it means something because I got it. I conquered this goal. I achieved
Mm.
this goal. I've always wanted to do it. I was able to do it. It feels so good to not have that barrier, of not understanding.
And there you have it. So, what's the secret then to maximizing your motivation? Well, you want to pour as much emotion on your goal as possible. It's not enough to just say, I want to learn it because it's cool, or to stay in the abstract layer of, I want to learn it because I want to go there and maybe meet somebody who I'm not really thinking about. You want to make it as emotional as possible, as specific as possible. Get down to a specific situation, a specific moment with a specific person, and then tell me the specific feeling you had that was negative because you could not speak. Then really reflect on that. Why? Why does that bother you? What does that mean about you? How does that stopping you from being the person you see yourself, from being your best version of yourself? Then you imagine what that scene would look like if you could connect, if you could flow, if you could understand perfectly and express yourself perfectly. And then feel that positive emotion. Add to it. The more color and detail you paint on this picture, the more motivating it will be for you. What are you doing? Are you giving a toast at your Brazilian wife's, parents' house, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's amazing. This guy's great. You should marry him," right? Like, what is it? Like, go get absurd with it. Add as much narrative detail. Be ambitious. Allow yourself to be ambitious with it, because the more higher you aim, the more motivated you'll become with it all. So, final thing I want to add here: if you don't have that experience, maybe you just started thinking about learning the language now, and you don't have a really strong motivation, like, oh, I'm just kind of curious. Then what you can do is feed the curiosity emotion. That is the first emotion you start with. So look up new movies, look up music, whatever it is. Like, why are you interested? Pour as much emotion as possible on that. And then what'll happen is that you'll feel to yourself like, wow, this culture or these people, they're so interesting to me. Now it's more painful that I don't really understand what's going on. I can't really connect with this culture. So the more you pump into that curiosity, the more you have that negative emotion of I'm disconnected. And then from that negative emotion, that's where you're gonna get the motivation to push forward and finally break through that language barrier. Okay? So if you have any questions, or if you want to answer your own questions, I invite you to come to the comment section and let us know, why are you learning your language, right? And not because it would be cool, or because, I want to learn multiple languages. Why? What's the situation that you were in where you felt it most, and felt that pain most of not knowing it? Share with us in the comments. Let us know if you have any questions. And if you like this video, please subscribe and support the channel, and check us out next time with more videos. All right, thanks for watching.